If you're watching this video, you are actually watching my very first video on YouTube. This is something that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. Finally got some inspiration from some of my favorite YouTubers to just go ahead and do it. Starting off with the game Planet Zoo, it's one of my favorites just to play on my own. So I figured I would start with a franchise zoo that I just wrapped up. It's the first time I've ever done a franchise, and I built this into a 5-star zoo. So I figured I would walk you through the one that I have here in North America called Homeward. And then I also, in my next video, want to start a new franchise somewhere else and see if I can achieve 5 stars even faster on that one. If you couldn't tell by all of my titles up here, my name is Dakota. My channel name is Dakota Lynn. I know, super creative, but I don't know. That's just kind of what I've always used for my gamer tags. A little bit about me. I work in construction management. I build high-rise apartment buildings. So the building aspect of this game is something that's pretty cool to me. I really enjoy building like the enclosures and stuff. I don't just play Planet Zoo. I actually started my PC gaming journey with The Sims a couple years ago, and I'd love to build on that one, hoping to make some content on The Sims soon. I've also been really trying to get into Minecraft. I'm like one of those people that's watched like hundreds of hours of Minecraft content on YouTube, but honestly, like, I'm terrified to go in the Nether by myself. I really enjoy playing Minecraft with my husband, but I'd love to start doing Minecraft content as well. I'm never going to be very good at it, but sometimes those, I think, are the most fun videos to watch. Somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, but they're trying. Some other games that I enjoy are horse games. Yeah, I know, a lot of them suck, but Rival Stars horse racing is really fun. That's one that I just got into recently, and I actually ride horses in real life. So I've been riding for years and years. Took a break to go to college and just recently started back after kind of getting my professional career up off the ground. And I just really love it. So now with that little intro out of the way, let's just go ahead and get into the game. So you can see I made a pretty good bit of cash. Trying to get this population of guests up a little bit more, but something that I found in franchise mode is that any of like the pretty decent animals just cost so many conservation credits because I feel like people just put them up for the max amount possible. So that makes it kind of difficult. I really love the loading screens on Planet Zoo. I like this little monkey guy. This zoo is almost a little bit too much for my computer. I have a decent computer, but not a great computer in terms of gaming. It's my first gaming PC. Before this, I played on a laptop, so as you can imagine, Planet Zoo can sometimes overwhelm it. But here is my zoo. I believe I called this one Homeward, and that was because I live in America and I kind of chose a region that included where I live. So it's not like the most like beautiful zoo, and I haven't really delved into making like really fancy enclosures or staff buildings or anything like that. I honestly just recently learned about making like these kind of enclosures for facilities with like the different wall panels and stuff. I had a fun time working on that with this zoo. But starting up here at the front, this was my first habitat, the Przewalski's horse. This was my first time using them since buying the DLC. So they were my first animals in this zoo, and I just love them. Of course, I was excited to hear that there were horses in this game. Pro tip when you're starting a franchise like this and you need to make money to keep your zoo going is to spend a little bit of money on like a high value exhibit animal, because like these snakes have multiple offspring at a time, and you can usually sell them for a couple grand when you sell all the offspring. and they live for quite a few years. Got my Grizzly Bears over here. I honestly kind of forget where everything is in the zoo. Anteaters over here. I forget. Giant anteaters is the actual breed name. I've got a little finnick fox over here. These guys, I got them before I had all of my barriers researched, and they were pretty upset with the amount of guests before I got the one-way glass. My kangaroos, they really don't even care to have one-way glass. I just added these guys actually yesterday. They were my last animal, and I think they'll be the final animal of the zoo. These are the California sea lion. So this habitat was kind of fun to make. I like building super deep water. You can see it goes way down there. And the guests seem to enjoy them. Had never used one of these platforms before. Not really sure what it does, but over here we have the Platypi Platypus. I have a baby in here somewhere, but I put in this burrow, which is really cool for their hard shelter, but it goes like way down deep underground, so a lot of times I can't ever like find my animals. But there's the baby. Yeah, so you can see that I kind of went crazy with all of these panels to cover up these things. I think it helps some. It makes it look nicer. I did use like the cheapest buildings, and then I found that honestly building this was less expensive than putting in like this style of shell that you see over there. Got more exhibits. These are the terrapins, and then this is a scorpion. I like to get a variety so it's not just like snakes or even just reptiles. And then here in the middle we've got the seal, the giant seal, I believe it's a gray seal. Okay, yeah, got a pretty good number of them. They've done a really good job of reproducing, so that's cool. And then coming over here, this is also one of my newest exhibits. This is Jaguar. They have a little baby already. I love the big cats. I actually just recently did a sandbox zoo, and because it's unlimited funds, I bought all of the cats and put them in my zoo. This is the Cougars, another really beautiful animal. I'm not really sure why he is laying in his food tray, but I guess that's where he feels comfortable. And then these capybaras. This is my first time actually having them in the zoo, and I really enjoyed them. They're really cute. I like this. He's actually an albino, and he has bred other albinos into the zoo, so that's pretty cool. And then I think this is our last enclosure over here, and this is the Malayan Tapier. Yeah, Malayan Tapier. I actually love tapirs. They're one of my favorite animals in real life at the zoo. I remember going to a zoo camp when I was younger and just seeing the tapir, being like, oh my god, I want to ride one of those. Like, forget horses. I want one of those as a pet. I've also got lots of seating areas. I would say that's my biggest complaint right now, if you look at guest needs, is they're running out of energy. Honestly, I also see that like they're still unhappy with the amount of food and drink choices, but I feel like it's kind of their own fault because I have plenty out here and nobody's at them, so can't really help them. And honestly, I mean, it's the same with the benches. I've put benches and picnic tables everywhere, so many of them, and like they don't really seem to use them, and then they just complain about being tired and hungry and thirsty. I try to kind of theme my buildings, so I use like these plaster walls, or I use the actual shells on the guest facilities, and then I use the metal panels on the staff facilities, and I feel like that looks really nice and it kind of differentiates so you can tell the two apart. But I guess I can walk you into one of these and kind of show you. I was really excited when I learned how to make this, and like I can't do anything more than like the snap-on grid walls. If it doesn't just snap automatically into place, like I can't handle it. So yeah, it just makes it look a little bit nicer than when they're just walking down the path in the open. We do get a lot of rain in this file too. It's like a temperate area, so it gets a little chilly and a little rainy. I feel like my staff are happier when they can walk around their staff areas without getting soaked. I considered covering the paths, but I kind of tried to start and was just getting frustrated again with like the building, having to free build. I'm just not very good at it yet. So I'm kind of just sticking to covering up buildings for now, and then maybe eventually I'll learn how to do like there's some really cool glass canopies. I know at one of the zoos in career mode, they had these really cool like octagonal glass canopies over the zoo. Built this massive staff facility out here because if you look at my staff list, I have 134 of them, and they like never use these. And I just saw that one of my capybaras has passed away, so that's really sad. A lot of my animals are getting older, especially like the first ones I got, a lot of my horses. The nice thing about the Przewalski's horses is they live a long time, but they also were my oldest in the zoo, so they're really starting to die off. Some of my highest ranked animals with like the highest attraction level, they were kind of old when I bought them, so I feel like I'm gonna lose a lot of them pretty soon, even some of these later ones that I put in. I don't think I ever actually mentioned what this exhibit was. This is my American Alligator exhibit. I really love the large, like aquatic animals in this game. I mean, the seals, the alligators, like any of them that are kind of half in the water. It's pretty cool. I like the mechanics of it. So these guys are really cool. I've also learned that a lot of animals really love the water and will actually get in it, even if they're not, they don't require water. Obviously, like these guys do require water, but some of the others don't, and you'll still see them swimming around, and I think that's really fun. I really like to create like little natural ponds for all of my animals. Not sure what the plan for the next one is, kind of trying to decide where the franchise is gonna go. I don't know if I want to do... This was a pretty like, I mean, it was called temperate, and it wasn't too hot or too cold for most animals. Some needed heaters at times when it snows, but I felt like it was kind of a good like middle ground, so I was able to have a variety of animals. I don't know if I want to do something similar again. Maybe try to do more theming, like do Arctic animals or like desert and grassland animals, or if I really want to stick to one region. I will say that it's kind of tough because a lot of our animals that are available are really expensive, and like it's a lot of conservation credits. These are some of the like the cheapest ones I've seen. A lot of times that the lions, whenever I go to open this up, are like 10,000 conservation credits, and I just can't do that. So honestly, the California sea lions are like the best thing I've been able to get, because they're like the only thing that sells with cash. I mean, you can see how much a lot of these are. So it's hard to get something with like a decent appeal. I don't know what the most appeal. Okay, it's the gray seal still. Okay, I thought it was going to be the California sea lion, but gray seal wins. So I guess we can go through my list of animals and you guys can kind of see what I do. I'm going to go ahead and pause the game here and manage some of these. These guys, like I said, if you're looking to get some cash early on, I would definitely buy like one of these that have a pretty high appeal rate, and they're a little bit more expensive. I mean, you might end up spending like close to $1,000 or more for each of them, but they just reproduce so quickly and so easily. And if you can just start out with like one pair of something, it really, really helps you early on. And then you just trade out the ones you don't need, and really simple, easy $22.50 there. And of course, I don't need that money right now, but you can't release these guys to the wild either way, so let's see. Oh yeah, look at this, these common death adders. Alright. I think I'm actually still on my original pair. I think this these two 12-year-olds right here are my first pair. And then I try to keep on a couple of really good ones to replace them. So yeah, that looks pretty good, because I should still have one female, and I'll probably breed another female out of those that has good fertility. So wow, yeah, see, those were almost 5,000. I think my first ones were the Eastern brown snake, yeah, because at some point I got the melanistic variety. And then when I'm going through these, I usually start with the ones that have like the lowest rating. I know this number is the same, but these are all like gold medal snakes, and then these are not. And usually that's because they don't have any fertility. And then from there, if I'm not looking to replace my mating pairs, I just delete the recently bred ones. So 6,000 out of those. That's pretty good. These Eastern brown snakes are the ones I started with. I bought them and the Przewalski's horses first. I've been in a really bad habit of clicking animal trading instead of zoo whenever I'm going back in to manage my animals. I don't know why. This part can be kind of hard to manage because they get out of control quickly, and then like you have like poor welfare just from these like exhibit animals. So that's a little annoying at times. And when you have a zoo this big, you really have to pay attention to like who's being bred when. And then like usually I would have all of my homebred, so homeward bound, sourced animals on contraceptives. But then when you go through the life cycle and the parents die, that's what happened with this female. Her parents died, so I bought her a new male. So now she doesn't get contraceptives, but her babies do. So it gets a little confusing, but it's not too bad. All of these little gray seals are just so cute. I love them. Another really cool feature that I like about this game is the fact that they changed the coat patterns. So a lot of breeds have a variety of coat patterns, and I think that adds a lot to the game. Trying to decide how many of these little guys I want. Female, female, female. I would just get rid of these. Do I have another good female? Might keep her too. I think I'll be fine. Yeah, so that's my zoo. I think I'm doing pretty good on management right now. I did have like a time where lots of animals were maturing, everybody was fighting with each other now that they were adults. It was a fun time. I don't think I went through these exhibits. This is the Tarantulas, I believe. Yeah, the wandering spiders. And then we've got the common death adder, the Amazonian giant centipedes, and the golden poison frog. I can't say that these are like my favorites, especially like the centipedes and the tarantulas. I don't love those, but they add a lot to the game, and I just don't try to zoom in on them too often, because then I feel like I can feel them crawling on me in real life. The area I'm from does have insects that can get that big, so I do not need to manifest that. Looks like the inspector is arriving to the zoo. My zoo has been going at a 5-star on inspections recently, so I'm not too worried about it. I do like to just kind of click on the exhibits and make sure they're at 100%. I remember doing the careers with all of the different challenges there were. It could be kind of frustrating trying to figure out, you know, what they needed, or not having your research done, so you couldn't provide them the enrichment they needed, or whatever the case was. But now that I've been playing for a while, I'm pretty good at figuring that out ahead of time. I know like what to research. Speaking of that though, I do need to go ahead and research the California sea lions. I have a lot of advanced research going on. I've researched all of the breeds, or the species that I have in this zoo, but the sea lions are new, and they just hadn't gotten hit yet. So in this zoo I didn't do any work zones or anything like that, and that's because I oftentimes don't manage them correctly to begin with. So I'll forget buildings, or I won't put enough people in, or something will happen, and then I can get errors about it. So usually I just like hire more and more staff and just let them figure it out. Which is probably not how the game is supposed to be played, but I find that it works well enough for me. So those guys should still get 5 stars, even though they were at like 98%. These guys are only at 88% though. What's going on with that? Oh, there's too many of them now. Okay. So I can give them more food enrichment though, that's not a problem. That should help in and of itself. Do they not have any food enrichment? Okay. This was my first time putting these guys in the zoo too, and I really enjoyed them. They make fun little like chirping sounds, so that's really fun. Okay, I like this little Skittle feeder, it's fun. This is something that I would have for my pets in real life. My family dog has a Kong toy that looks quite similar to that. And then I thought they had a bamboo feeder too, but I don't know where it went, but whatever. They can have another one. Alright. Oh, and then they always want more hard shelter too. Definitely regretting making the habitat this size, because I feel like it kind of messed everything up. I feel like I can't put a sizable shelter in because it knocks the space down, but then they always say that the shelters aren't big enough. What if I put in a giant shelter like that? Would that take up more of their habitat space though? Something that I really like to do is put like this kind in, but then I drop it into the ground, so it just looks more natural. Yeah, I really enjoy doing that. I actually learned that trick from one of my favorite YouTubers, from Lady Ranger Gamer is her name. If you want to go check her out. She has 2 channels, but her main channel is all about horse games, which obviously I love, and I really enjoy watching her play those. And then she does Planet Zoo on the other one, and other animal games, animal-themed games, but not necessarily horse-themed games. So I have a good time with her channel, but I learned about sinking the shelters in from her. I learned about adding like rocks to the enclosures. She really loves doing rocks. So I have a lot of foxes, holy cow. This is a lot. But hey, changing that shelter out actually gave them more room, so it was a good move. Whenever I built this habitat, I hadn't yet researched all of the different shelters, so I didn't have many options. But it seems like sinking the foundation into the ground really helps take away like the space decrease. The rain is kind of a pain on this save. They complain a lot, the guests do. They're like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna rain. And then like their happiness tanks, and I'm like, well, that's not really my fault, but whatever. You live in this region, you should know better. Sometimes they get stuck in between here, but if I don't like put the trash cans there, then people just throw their trash everywhere. So you'll see that my trash cans are just kind of laid out wherever I felt like they needed to be. I should probably have more around here, but because there's not like any food super nearby, it hasn't been an issue. If you didn't know, if you say hello to these players in franchise mode, up to a certain amount of them, you get some credits, so that's cool. I usually say hello to them either way, just because it's fun to say hello. I like that you can like call them out. Let's check on our inspector. I did try putting a monorail in a day or 2 ago, and I wanted it to go over exhibits because I thought that would be really cool. But then when I did that, I hated how it looked, like how it put the poles in the exhibits, and I know that you can like remove those and adjust them so that they don't do that. But then like it looks like it's hanging on nothing, and as an engineer, I just can't really deal with that either. So I just decided to delete it, and they have to walk and they can sit down if they get tired. But I do want to look into different modes of transportation. That's not something that I researched in the zoo, but it's something that I would be interested in learning more about and actually building a zoo with the plan to implement those in the future. Everyone loves these sea lions, it looks like. Something that I like to do is changing the water to this crystal color, and it lowers the opacity a little bit. And then I also like to make it... What color do I use this color? Yeah. I don't know why, I just like that. Makes it look a little bit more coastal in my opinion. And then you can kind of see him swimming in there more. I don't know that that actually affects the guest ability to see him, but it would be really cool if it did. But yeah, that's the zoo, and I think I'm gonna wrap up my first video here. Don't think there's anything else to see. Gonna keep letting the inspector go, but I'm sure it'll be a 5-star. As you can see here, it's all 5 stars. I actually did get the achievement because this was my first 5-star zoo in a franchise mode. This is my first franchise. So, like I said, for the next video, I think I would like to start up my next franchise and build it off of this zoo. Don't know what I'll start with. I want to start with different animals, keep different animals than what I had this round. So you'll have to come back and see what I decide to do.